Hello, merry meet. So this is just gonna be a little quick video because I am going out with friends in just a moment. So the reason why there hasn't been any videos from me for a while is that I have been on summer vacation with my mom and she has a really bad internet connection. So making a video hasn't been possible. Anyway, the topic of this video is people that say that you can't take the tarot seriously because it was originally made to be a game. And yeah, all we know of the history of the tarot is that it was made to be a game. And in fact, the regular playing cards, like what you play poker with and such, actually comes from the tarot. It has the same suits, it's basically the Little Arcana. It's a little bit different, but it's basically the Little Arcana. So, yeah. Now, there are a lot of theories that the tarot originally came from Egypt and where the symbols and archetypes and such come from. And a lot of those theories are very interesting and it's definitely something I love reading about. And I'm not saying that they cannot be true. It's quite possible that they are, but I'm saying that what we know as fact. The first tarot decks where it came from Italy in the early 1500s, as far as I know. I'm not completely sure about the year. Anyway, and they were games. So yeah, we do know that in the early 1400s, the first painted card decks arrived in Italy, and they were status symbols because having an artist paint such a game for you, that was pretty expensive. So you can imagine the noble family sitting there and playing these decks of cards and uh, bragging about how rich they are. That's what we know about the origins of the tarot. Now, my opinions about this criticism. I'm saying it doesn't matter. Basically, a lot of things have started as something very different from what it is today. And the point is that you can tell divination with anything that can give a reasonably random result. For example, dice started for divination. That is what archaeologists say. Today, dice divination is relatively rare. There are some of us that do it, but it's relatively rare. And it's far more common to use cards, crystal balls, and so on. And it's far more common to use dice for games. But originally, dice were mostly used for divination. While today, basically, even if the tarot had no more glorious origins than just being pretty painted cards for rich people to play games with, they have another meaning today. And the pictures of the cards do symbolize a lot of the basic archetypes of human nature, and as such becomes very useful for divination. So basically, if you look at almost all occult tools, they had very mundane uses originally. I mean, the cauldron, that was just a family's typical tool to create food. The broom was a cleaning tool. All of them basically tools that were part of normal family life. Because basically, a lot of people, if you go back a few hundred years, couldn't afford to have specialized tools for magic. And also, after Christianity took over many places, it would be too dangerous to have specialized tools for it. Yes, sure, some court magicians and so on had specialized tools. But most of the common tools for the tools of an occultist today began as something else. And it is the same with the tarot. It might have started as a game, we don't know. That's what we know of it. It could have a deeper and older reason. And I mean, there's a lot of theories, all from it being a card game system from China to it being uh, the language of an ancient mystery cult. We don't know. What we know is that it was once a game, but it doesn't matter. It works very well for divinations. And the same, you can take a game. Let's take Magic the Gathering. You can divine with that, not a problem. Yes, gather some cards up, shuffle them, lay them out, read what you see in the symbols, the cards, and so on. Let them have meaning for you. You can divine with it. There are so many divination systems. I mean, there is a divination system that is reading the way a cat moves. There's a divination system which is reading how the clouds move. Basically, about anything that can give a reasonably random result has been used for divination. So the tarot isn't any different. In that regard, it doesn't have to be made by some wise old man on a mountain that hadn't eaten for 30 days for it to actually have meaning. And also remember that all the years of occultists writing about it, thinking about it, using it, developing it, it has a very different meaning now than the original Tarocchi decks of old Italy. Basically, today the tarot has a deep occult meaning. It symbolizes the tree of life. It is deeply connected with the pentagram, and you can easily see the Jungian archetypes in it. There is so much symbolism and meaning in the tarot that really, while its origins are interesting, it, its origins isn't necessarily the same as what it is today. And I mean, this is like with any art. If you look at an art or a thing or something that is done 500 years in the past and what you have today, it generally isn't exactly the same. It doesn't have the same meaning. Take football. Football began as a way to simulate combat. It was a pretty bloody sport that was developed as a way to have fights that wouldn't lead to quite as many deaths. Today, it doesn't really much simulate a fight, it's an athletic game. And chess, I still sort of have the concept there. Really, what it is a war game. It symbolizes war. But most that play it doesn't really think about that. It has another meaning. And the same with the tarot. It might have begun as a game. We don't know. We actually don't know how the cards showed up. We have, you know, that pictured, basically painted text of cards became popular in the 1400s. And that in the late 1400s, you had the first tarot decks. And therefore, it is likely that they are a part of that fad. We don't know if they were inspired by something else, if they could have been inspired by Egyptian mystery cult, Eastern mysticism. We don't know. We know that they were a game in early Renaissance Italy. That's all we know. But we can have all these different speculations and those are well and good, but it doesn't matter. Point is, what is the tarot today? What can the tarot do for a person that reads them and uses these cards today? And today they have a very different meaning than earlier. Yes, could they still be used as games? Yeah, there are many games that can be played with the tarot. And I mean, there came out a computer game. What's its name? Dishonored. And within the setting of that game, they play a card game with the tarot. And the special edition of the game, which I have, came with a tarot deck and instruction for how to play this game. So yeah, you could definitely play games with it. But the main function of the tarot today isn't as a game, it's as a divination and self-development system. Excuse me. Hello? Well, I think that's my friend. So anyway, I hadn't said what I wanted to say, so I'm just gonna have to say goodbye and run. Have a great day and blessed be.